The Truth Be Told by Ishah Binah. Chapter 7. Victorville, California. The year was 2014. Summer was nearly over, but it was still very hot in September. My children and I were moving to the desert, Victorville, California. A lot had happened over a 12-month period that led up to the move. We had lived in the county of San Diego for 8 years and were accustomed to coastal views incorporated into our daily lives. Victorville was going to be a bit of a change of scenery. Visually, the desert was such a vast contrast to the coast. The house we were moving to was spacious and beautiful inside, but there were no trees or vegetation of any sort on the entire street, except for one house, which was the house we were moving to. There were two big, healthy looking trees right in the front yard. Dry, desert dirt covered the ground in the front yard and in the back. A chain linked fence divided our backyard from the backyard of the neighbor that was behind us. Their backyard was an awful eyesore. Perhaps they owned a property management business because their yard was full of old, rusted, broken toilets and sinks and many other such things. The one I thought was the worst was the enormous, corroded, in ground swimming pool that had been dug up from somewhere and was now sitting above the ground in their backyard. Our backyard sat above theirs, and the terrain sloped sharply downward into their domain. All of their debris was completely exposed. This was our new backyard view that can be clearly and entirely seen from every angle of our backyard. Okay, so I noticed there were some things that I would not call my favorite, but I tried to focus on the things that I did like instead. First of all, this was going to be my first house. Yeah, sure, it was a rental. That part didn't matter to me. I had lived in apartment type housing for the majority of my childhood, except during the ages of 15, 16, and 17. As for my adult life thenceforth, the biggest upgrade I had was a two-bedroom condo. Moving to this house was a big blessing, as my living territory was being enlarged. My children, Dmitri and Leela, son and daughter, were growing so fast. Dmitri was 7, and Leela was about to turn 4 in a month. I wanted to get to see them play in a yard. I wanted to be able to offer them a yard to play in every day while they were still little ones. They would have this at the new house. Plus, they likely wouldn't be bothered by the view because they will be too busy playing. Dmitri and Leela also needed their own rooms. The desert house had that to offer as well, as there were 4 bedrooms, which also provided for an office space for me. It was the largest place I would have ever resided in yet, boasting 2 large living areas on either side of an open kitchen and a fireplace with an impressive mantel. There was much to enjoy about the house. Furthermore, this move was a rescue mission for us. I had just been laid off from my job in San Diego. I also had just lost my babysitter, and received a 60-day notice from my landlord all in one weekend. That same weekend, as I was pacing the floors trying to devise a plan about how to solve one crisis after another, I realized how far these matters were above my head. Understanding came to my heart. This is where I was supposed to stop trying to figure things out by myself. I immediately apologized to God for taking the notion to stand in his place concerning the direction of my life. My new focus was to think about God only and not to try to think I can fix anything. He then, in return, fixed everything for me. I was on my way to safety in a large house within the matter of 2 weeks. Therefore, I knew I needed to stop crying about the details that I did not like about the new address we were moving to. Yep, I sure did. I cried. It happened on the way home after viewing the new house. I did not mean to cry. I wanted to be strong, but I just thought it was so dry and hot in Victorville. I felt overwhelmed with a parched throat while I was there. The lack of greenery was also tremendously disappointing. I wanted to live by some grass and some trees, as I had been accustomed to. Then I remembered that my direction is being ordered by God. So I apologized to him again for my complaint and decided to receive our new location with an open heart and gratitude. In other words, I changed my tune. The next morning, I received a call from the rental agency that assisted me with locating the house. I talked to her from the parking lot at the call center that I worked for. She was calling me to confirm that everything was approved and she would send me the rental agreement to sign. I agreed. As we were concluding our conversation, she mentioned about a list of houses for rent by her company and wanted to be sure I had reviewed it. I had not reviewed this list she referred to or known of it until then. The rental agent then gave me the address to the website where I could view the list, stating that it was not too late to choose a different house and that I was approved for any one of them. Sitting at my desk, I reviewed the properties in between calls. I used bird's eye view mapping technology so that I could see the terrain around the properties. And there it was, a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom house surrounded by green terrain, right smack in the desert. I called her back to express interest in the house for rent that is surrounded by green terrain in the desert. There was no time for me to go and view the house myself because Victorville was 2 hours away from my current residence, and I could not miss any more work ahead of the layoff date that was coming up in a week, or else employer consequences. To solve this issue, the rental agent agreed to go view the house for me while calling me on video. I was comfortable with that plan. Notwithstanding, our video call efforts failed while she was at the property. After trying many times to get the video working, she offered to walk through the property and describe to me what she saw. I decided to move forward with that. She described the property as being beautiful and spacious with plenty of cabinets and closet space. The house was nested in a cul-de-sac and cuddled up alongside a beautiful golf course, so she told me. Also, she said, there were stairs that led up to an upper deck that overlooked the golf course. Since the viewing process did not include any viewing of my own whatsoever, I had to either trust what the agent described to me or move forward with the house I had seen. I decided to trust what I felt in my heart. In my heart, I strongly sensed that the Lord was rewarding me for humbling myself before Him concerning my complaint about the dry, hot desert. Also, it seemed that He wanted me to learn to trust Him. Moving into a house without viewing it first with my own eyes goes against everything my parents and grandparents and any other elders have ever taught me. But I knew that God was moving me. I took a leap. I signed the rental agreement based on what the rental agent told me, all while noting a conflict of interest. She will be compensated when I sign the agreement. Of course, she would tell me it was beautiful, right? It will be okay, I thought. This is not about trusting her. This is about trusting God. Though I would not get a chance to see what my living environment would be like until my actual move in date, which was now less than a week away, I felt excited about the move. Victorville was a lot closer to many of my close relatives than San Diego. Plus, one of my cousins that I grew up playing with lived in the same city. Victorville, here we go. This is going to be fun, I thought. My cousin, Regina, is a full figured, gorgeous diva with an outstanding presence. I admire her ability to hold a pleasant smile in full stretch, even if she is inwardly raging. She can also accompany this with the most graceful tone of voice, even in the worst of moods. She would tell me later just how increasingly livid she had been about one thing or another with someone. But the whole time I would see her smile and appear happy with them. What a remarkable skill. Though we played together at times when we were young, Regina and I had not seen each other for over a decade. This was going to be fun. We get to bond all over again. And it was ever so much fun. We both love to sing. Singing is a heavily integrated aspect of our family. Many of our parents and grandparents sing or play an instrument. Upon moving to Victorville, Regina and I would go on many adventures together, singing all the way there and back.